My name's Eric Jolly. I'm president and CEO of the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation. We're a community foundation, and that means we get to work with donors and with passionate nonprofit leaders come together to change the world, our world. And these relationships give us a window into tremendous acts of generosity, inspiration, courage, and love. Every day, from small towns to large cities, we're seeing people, individuals, and communities coming together to create an equitable, just, vibrant Minnesota where all communities and people thrive. In this present moment, we'd like to share these stories with you.
So I'm delighted today to have Geoff Wilson, the Executive Director of College Possible Minnesota, as my guest on this present moment. This moment in time with Geoff is to find out a little more about yourself and about College Possible. What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. So excited to do this with you today. At College Possible, our mission is to help capable low-income students become college graduates through an intensive curriculum of coaching and support.
College Possible really connects kids who families haven't got that experience with college and navigating a very confusing system, get through a variety of hurdles and succeed in college. Those hurdles have amplified in these times. How has COVID-19 affected your work, even your graduation and ceremonies?
Yeah, I think the key word, which we hear all the time, but is so accurate right now, is just uncertainty. We are looking forward to hearing more soon. We know a lot of colleges and universities are getting ready to lay out their plans for what they'll be doing in the fall. And that'll be a really important time for us to really amp up our coaching with students.
So how has your coaching changed? What are some of the creative ways you're reaching out to your students now and into the pool of students who will be enrolled in college over the next few years?
Fortunately, we've had a really robust, what we call tech-connected program up and running for many years. So in our work with college students, for almost a decade now, we've been working with them in a virtual platform. And we've added that programming to our work with high school students about four or 5 years ago, where we're now also providing some curriculum virtually. So the transition in terms of how we do the work was fairly seamless, and we were really fortunate to have those virtual foundations already in place. But what we're doing looks very different. And so, a lot of our students and their families are working in sectors that have been particularly hard hit by the fallout of coronavirus. And so the coaching has become much more personal to really understand where our students are at, where their families are at, where they're at in terms of basic needs, how we can connect them with resources. And through all of that, an extra emphasis, though, on the fact that as a community, we will get through this. And on the other side, there's a very bright future waiting for our students. So it's a real balance of understanding the changing needs, sometimes moving more towards even just meeting basic needs, but also not losing sight of that end goal.
It's really a phenomenal set of issues that you're having to deal with. And you're dealing with it not just with hundreds, perhaps thousands of college students and students to be, but with dozens upon dozens of universities who all have their own approach. What's been some of the most creative solutions you've seen coming forward as you've dealt with this?
Yeah, so one of the things that really inspiring is how our college partners are really being flexible with their admissions process and totally changing that to be flexible and making sure that all of our students, and especially our students who come from lower income backgrounds or who will be first generation college students, are still having the support they need to get into and be successful from college.
There are one or two stories of something that is remarkable and stands out for you?
We have created a whole website to celebrate our students that's full of their stories, their artwork, their music. And I was just reading a story that was written by a young woman from Park Center High School who talked about St. Thomas was her dream school since she was 10 years old. And I was really struck by that because I reflected on myself at 10, and I don't know that I had a dream school at 10. And she got into St. Thomas with a full ride. And the pure joy and excitement for what is coming next in her life and her future really comes out in the story that she wrote. And there's no sense of fear or uncertainty in it. It really just struck me, and I was really moved by that. And it makes me think about, sort of take stock of how I'm handling the situation and how I view it and through what lens I'm thinking about the future.
That's fantastic. Now, I've observed College Possible really diversify the way in which it works with students and even the partnerships that you have. Could you tell us a little more about some of the partnerships that have emerged and the strengths that you get from that?
We have intentionally identified this partnership with university and college partners as a key aspect of our students' success. So we've been really deepening our partnerships with lots of our college and university partners, looking at how do we get ahead of students early on before they start their first year, or before they start the semester that they're going into, to make sure that they know of all the resources available. If there's any roadblocks or any questions that the student has, that we're both there so we can both help them. We're working much more closely with career centers to make sure that our students are not just looking at the college graduation, but really thinking about how do we move into a meaningful job that's going to give them a life full of choice and opportunity. We're really excited. We're exploring a different kind of financing with an organization called Better Futures Forward, which works on an income share agreement where students receive money to help them pay for their schooling, and then after graduation pay at a certain percent of their income. So really testing out the waters there and trying to see what that can open up for students.
Thank you. That's pretty remarkable, the kinds of change that you're seeing in students' lives. And I know you have alumni stories of people who have really shown after this. Do you have one in particular you might share with us?
We had a student who I don't even know the right language to use, but he was in some sort of computer engineering program and graduated. And in his first job, he was talking to one of our team who kind of mentored him along a little bit. And his starting salary was $70,000 in his job right out of college. And what was really touching was this, the person on our team that he was talking with asked, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to, go get a fancy apartment downtown or something? And he said, no, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to help my family and make sure that they have the support they need. Really inspiring. I mean, that's life-changing for that whole family. We just recently did our first ever alumni survey, really extensively done, looking at students who are 5 and 10 years out from college graduation. And what we found is that a large percentage of them are doing really well financially. Many are making a family income of over $100,000 a year, which when you look at our current students, the average family income is $29,000 a year. And so what we've seen in terms of income growth and really breaking cycles of poverty has been phenomenal to see that now that we're looking 5 and 10 years out, that those impacts are occurring. And then one of the things that we also looked at in that alumni survey that I thought was really important was the student debt load. We wanted to really understand, are students exiting with manageable amounts of debt? And what we found is that on average, our students are leaving with less debt than the national average. In fact, a significant portion have no debt, but those that do, it's right in that very manageable range that one would expect. So really amazing results to see from that first alumni survey.
When I was a dean many years ago, I would greet parents and say, welcome, this is a great place for your children to spend the next 4.5, sometimes 5 years of their life. You really have a high success rate of getting your students through college and getting them through without the 6 and 8 year plan. Could you tell a little about their success?
One of the most important things that we're really doubling down on even right now is what we would call best fit enrollment. It's so important that our students understand what school is going to be the best fit for them, where they can build a community, where they're going to have the right supports, where they're going to feel like they belong. And I think so much of the persistence and success lies in some of those early decisions. So we really work to make sure that our students have a wide spectrum of opportunities, so they're getting multiple offers, and then helping them understand how to make the best choice. We don't make the choice for them, but we give them the information, the tools, and the resources to know how to make that choice. And then there's really 4 elements that we're looking at very closely, and they are relentless support, which is not really a departure from what we've ever done, but we know that a student who is new to college really just needs that complete, relentless support. The second is community building on campus. That's so important that our students have a community of support, a peer network that they can trust and rely on and go to when things do get challenging for support, and to have a group of people who really are there walking with them. Financial support is obviously important. So we're doubling down on what we're doing internally, and then also what we're doing in terms of partnerships to make sure that we're unlocking the dollars that our students are going to need to get through college. And then the fourth is career readiness, because we're really looking at, the more a student is engaged in the career readiness activities that sort of give them a picture of what comes next and what they're working towards, the more likely they are to persist and graduate.
How can others help you? How can people support your work and the students that work with you?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I would be remiss if I didn't say, first and foremost, we always need financial support. So it takes money to make the wheels go round. And so you can always make a financial contribution, and we would put that to good use. I just would maybe close by saying again that when you look at the factors that determine whether or not a student is going to graduate from college, it is not how intelligent they are. It's not what extracurricular activities they were in. Right now, it's their family income. And we don't think that that's right, and we don't think that's just. We know there are so many students who come from low-income backgrounds who are poised to be the next leaders of our community. And I think it's our job, again, to remove the barriers that we've put in their way, to open it up and really allow them to achieve their full potential. And together, I know we can do that, and everyone will benefit when we get that right.
Thank you. Now, the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation was among the very first investors in Admission Possible turned College Possible turned a dream come true for so many students. We're so proud of the work that you do.
We couldn't thank you enough for the support you've given us for many, many years, and just for everything you do for our community. It's truly special what you've put together over there, and how you make sure that everyone can do well and succeed in our community. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you. I've always believed that education is a liberating force in human development, that an education once given can never be taken away, and it's one of the few treasures that is most often transmitted intergenerationally. A well-educated student has well-educated children, and you really do break that cycle of poverty. Thank you so much for joining us and spending time in this present moment.